But I wanted to point this out really quick because this was some of the most weirdest, feminist, nasty agenda I've ever seen put on ESPN.
Did ESPN try to bury the truth? A newly leaked and previously deleted clip has resurfaced, revealing Elle Duncan's shocking reaction to Caitlin Clark being left out of the NBA three-point contest. And it's even more explosive than anyone expected. Although ESPN quickly pulled the video from their official YouTube channel, the original footage is still circulating, and it appears to expose the full story behind what really happened.
Now, if you all don't know, there is a silent kind of behind the scenes war going on with new people covering the WNBA and old people covering the WNBA. And, you know, a lot of the old WNBA people don't want the new people to be covering the WNBA, right? And going into this, I would definitely say Elle Duncan is a part of the old WNBA coverage team.
The divide between traditional WNBA coverage and modern media narratives has now reached a boiling point, with Elle Duncan's comments about Caitlin Clark becoming one of the most controversial takes of the year. So the real question now is, what exactly is ESPN trying to keep hidden from the public?
Elle Duncan comes in with her disturbing, nasty take of this whole thing. Basically trying to make Caitlin Clark's decision a nasty feminist FU to the NBA. It's ridiculous, man.
The WNBA world is buzzing right now, and what went down on ESPN's First Take could be one of the most talked about moments in recent sports media coverage. In this breakdown, we're digging into more than just a deleted clip. It highlights a growing divide in how women's basketball is being covered today. Here's what happened. ESPN aired a regular First Take discussion about Caitlin Clark turning down an invitation to the NBA three-point contest. On the surface, it looked like a routine sports segment, but then came the twist. When the episode was later uploaded to YouTube, a key portion of the footage was suddenly missing. And once you hear what Elle Duncan reportedly said in that removed clip, it becomes clear why it's igniting so much debate. Stay tuned as we break down the full situation and what really happened behind the scenes.
Just stick with me. This is the original content posted on YouTube. Just stick with me.
Games, and I've seen a lot of games, women's basketball games,
and they competed.
Arike Ogunbowale got MVP. She had a crazy second half. Everyone competed. People are starting to appreciate the women's game for that approach because we understand what's at stake in this moment. And for Caitlin Clark to have the awareness to drive the eyeballs there, you have to give her so much credit for that.
Okay, you saw how it skipped right there? That is where Elle Duncan came in with her crazy, asinine state.
Let's start with what everyone actually saw on air. The segment begins as you'd expect, with Stephen A. Smith and Chiney Aguamike breaking down Caitlin Clark's decision. Chiney's take stood out in a positive way. She highlighted how competitive last year's WNBA All-Star Game was, praised the high level of talent in the women's game, and delivered her points in a way that brought context without creating conflict. It was a textbook example of how to support women's basketball while keeping the conversation balanced and respectful. But then came Elle Duncan's portion, the part that, according to reports, didn't make it into the final YouTube upload. And here's where things get controversial. The original broadcast footage suggests Duncan wasn't just analyzing the situation. She was pushing a perspective that some viewers are calling highly divisive and politically charged, framing the situation in a way that completely changes how the moment is interpreted.
Caitlin Clark, to have the awareness to drive the eyeballs there, you have to give her so much credit for that.
The reason why is because these women know that every opportunity they have on this platform, they have to ball out because they have to completely turn around tropes or ideas or narratives or discourse. Like all of that is always on their shoulders, which is why not only do I think that this move by Caitlin Clark is the right move, I think it's incredibly empowering.
Elle Duncan continues without holding back. The commentary stretches on, and it's clear she has strong feelings about the situation. At this point, the tone shifts away from simple analysis and starts feeling more intense and personal. It goes beyond straightforward reporting and enters more opinion-driven territory. So let's jump straight back into the discussion and see how it unfolds from here.
Because Stephen A., when we watched that three-point contest last year in the NBA, and we all enjoyed it, and it was so much fun, what did immediately those of us in the W space say? All right, Steph, now return the favor and go do the same thing at the W, right? In years past, for generations past, women had to legitimize being mainstream by being validated in a male space.
Wow, this is really something. What do you think about this so far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. All right, let's keep going.
And now Caitlin Clark is saying that my power and cachet is not for loan. I am going to go and improve the league that I believe in and care in. And the idea that she said, I'm going to make sure the first three-point contest I participate in will be the W one. She didn't do it last year. Lord knows she was tired and didn't want to, right? Like it took everything she had just to get through that game, and she was fantastic. But I love this, and what I hope it does, listen, Caitlin Clark is a one-of-one in many ways, and we understand that. So not everybody has that ability, that cachet and all that clout to move the needle, to draw those kinds of ratings. But what I hope that it does is empower the next generation, the Paige Beckers, the Juju Watkins behind her.
Duncan's commentary then takes an even more controversial direction when she suggests that rising stars like Juju Watkins and Hailey Van Lith should follow Caitlin Clark's example by stepping away from participation in certain mainstream, male-centered events. And this is where the conversation really escalates. Critics argue that this kind of framing pushes the idea of separation in how women's basketball is presented, rather than encouraging unity and broader exposure. Others believe it raises a deeper issue about how the sport should be promoted, whether through isolation of narratives or by building stronger connections across platforms and audiences.
I'm so tired of it. It just makes no sense to me. And I'm tired that we keep giving it so much energy. And I'm tired of it being people who are not in this circle or space at all, who suddenly have all these opinions about how these women need to treat Caitlin Clark. What do you want from them? They want to beat her because she's not on their team. Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Y'all stop it. We already know she's transformational. They've all said it. How many times do they gotta?
Let's break down why this viewpoint doesn't really hold up. To begin with, the NBA and WNBA operate in a mutually beneficial relationship. The NBA plays a key role in supporting the WNBA financially, while also providing infrastructure, media exposure, and marketing power that helps the women's game continue to grow. With Commissioner Adam Silver consistently showing strong support for the WNBA, framing this relationship as a gender conflict oversimplifies the reality and could even end up damaging the league itself. Just look back at Sabrina Ionescu's participation in the NBA three-point contest. That moment wasn't just beneficial for the NBA, it became a major win for the WNBA too. It drew in new fans, boosted New York Liberty merchandise sales, and significantly raised the visibility of women's basketball on a national stage. Duncan's comments take an even more controversial turn as she suggests rising stars like Juju Watkins and Hailey Van Lith should follow Caitlin Clark's lead by avoiding certain mainstream, male-focused events. Critics say this crosses a line, turning the discussion into division rather than unity, when the focus should be on growing and supporting women's basketball together.